Howdy, Possum Patty here, and welcome to hashtag Messy Monday Makes. Come on along. Well, I hope I don't get too messy today, but let me just show you what my watercolor palette looks like. And I would say that's pretty messy. And that is out because I want to review this book I bought at a yard sale, Rainforest Escape, my Island Animal, Exotic Flower, and Tropical Plant Coloring Book. Color on high quality, one-sided, perforated watercolor paper, plus 10 huge fold-out drawings. And this is Jade Gideon, founder and designer of We Dream in Color. And look at this gorgeous hummingbird right there on that pod. I'm just examining it to see how she did that. I got this for 25 cents. They bought it for $4 at the Job Lot, which is like an Ollie's or an Odd Lot. Regular price was $16.99. Marked down to $11.88. So I figured 25 cents was worth it. And the paper does feel kind of cottony. And the big fold-out pages look like that. And I did review this a bit. I mean, I flipped through it anyway. I just saw another hummingbird. That's a tropical hummingbird. That's a snake. Wow. And I pulled out a hummingbird page on its little thimble-sized nest, coated with moss and lichen. Because that one reminded me of our local hummingbirds. We only have one kind of hummingbird here, and that is the ruby-throated hummingbird. I think in the back there was some information about hummingbirds. I thought there was. Those pages are thick. Vibrant flying jewels have long entranced many. In Trinidad, the Amerindian people considered them sacred, believing they contained the souls of their ancestors. As I've stood amongst the flora that attracts their traffic, the fervent flurry of tiny wings only confirmed why Trinidad's Amerindian name is Lyre, or Land of the Hummingbirds. Lyre. Sorry if I am pronouncing that wrong. All right, but we have hummingbirds here in New England, in the Northeast. Okay, so this page will go in my little golden book, Wonders of Nature. And I've already tried to measure it. And the bird is kind of big for a tiny hummingbird, but maybe I can just get him in there. Or what I can do is, I'm going to have to trim off the bottom a little bit. I might do a fold on this and decorate the outside, and then you open it up to see the hummingbird. I might do that. We shall see. We shall see. So I have my very messy watercolor palette. I've got a tiny jar of water. And I got a couple of brushes. So if this is the female, we can call this the female ruby-throated hummingbird. I think they're more brownish with a little bit of green mixed in. Well, that was last night, and this is today, and as you can see, I got nothing done. And been very busy all day today too, so it's a new day and a new plan. I got out these iridescent watercolors, and I'm thinking that the hummingbird needs to be iridescent, and I might need a smaller brush to do all those little tiny, tiny feathers on my little tiny, tiny, just checking the camera there, tiny, tiny hummingbird. Okay, now so I looked it up, and they are iridescent green. The feathers are kind of brownish, and the female does not have a ruby throat, but otherwise it's still iridescent. And how am I going to do this? And she's a little brown in here, a little brown over there, and mostly green, but we can put a little blue and yellow because blue and yellow are green, right? You don't want to make it solid green. You can put a little sparkle. Could put a little sparkle on her. So I probably should have tried out on a picture that I don't like instead of starting out on one that I love, because this paper is untested. Oh well. Just go for it. Okay, I'm going to put a little yellow highlight on my shiny bird. I know she's not going to be yellow, but this is just a start. Give her a little shine. Give her a little shine. I'm going to try not to use too much water till I figure out how much this paper can handle. Okay, from the yellow, I think I will go right to the green. Ooh, yes, 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 yes. Always spray your paints and let them moisten up if you want to get some good color going. It's okay if the yellow is still wet. I want to get a little blue in there. So I gotta leave some space for some blue. Now that's a pretty color. I don't have all my lights on. There we go. So my honeysuckle's blooming, and now I'm very confused. Some people have a coral honeysuckle, and that's what I wanted. And when I went to the garden shop, I said I want a coral honeysuckle, and she says, oh, you mean a scarlet honeysuckle? And so that's what she gave me, a scarlet honeysuckle. But I don't know what the difference is between a scarlet and a coral, because the flowers look the same. I don't know. I'm going to have to do some more research. Well, anyway, it's blooming, and the hummingbird is very, very happy. That's one of her fave, and his faves too, Mr. and Mrs. Hummingbirds are very territorial. I would love to get some more in the yard. Oh, I'm doing this page because I bought these little cheapy hummingbird feeders. Well, I bought one, and I said, well, let me try it out, see if they'll even use it. You know, because I'm trying to plant a lot of flowers that she'll like, and he'll like. And Mr. Possum said he did see the hummingbirds over at the feeder, so I went out to the dollar store and I bought another one. Now these are very, very flimsy. I'll put a picture here. Oh, I think I printed out the pictures. The picture's going to be on the page when I do the page. And it's almost like a throwaway, I guess. You know, it's probably not going to last too long out in the sun. But that's okay. Using one season for $1.25, right? For $1.25, use them for one season. And if they're cracked, we just toss them out. Now at the Dollar Tree, they did have some Hummingbird food, and I bought some. It's you know, $1.25 too, but I noticed it doesn't have any calcium or anything in it. It's just sugar. So I'm mixing it with some of the better Hummingbird food that does have some minerals in it for the birds. So it's important for them to have their energy, but also for them to have their minerals too. I wonder if I should let this dry a little bit. I'm using this tiny brush. Looking okay so far. Alright, let me just dry this. Okay, I'm just going to take a moment and work on a little bit on the brown. I'm actually using ochre. Oh, not the vegetable okra. I don't want to do too dark. I can put a little dark on there. Mix a little dark in there. Getting some brown off the dirty palette here. The humidity is very low today. Everything's drying up fast. I don't know what these little things are here. I don't think that's the feathers. It's probably something she put on the nest. A little piece of moss or something. So that's got to be green. A little bit of dark. Don't get it too wet. Some more green back on there. If you don't think your color is bold enough, especially if you're using student grade paints, just give it a second coat or a third, whatever you like. I like bright colors. Put a little bit of this color here. beak is dark. Dark, dark, dark. Let's see. I'm going to add a little dark to those wings too. Not too dark. Just a little bit. So it's shaded down closer to the nest. And like here under the wings. And maybe a little bit back here. And I'll probably put a little bit more green sparkly on there. Kind of blending it right into the brown bits. Isn't she beautiful? All her iridescentness. Iridescentness. I don't know. Is that a word? The longer the water sits on the paint, the juicier the colors become. So now it's getting even darker. Talking about this right here. I think I need a little bit of more blue now that the blue is nice and juicy. I can pick up more of that sparkle. Oh, I hear a cat at the door. As soon as the cats hear me talking, they want to come in. I can sit in here all day and they don't bother. But the minute I start talking, they need to come in. Banging on the door. How are we doing? Should let that dry. See how it comes out. Okay, now the nest is not sparkly. Lichen and moss. I was having a really hard time with the cat in my lap, getting her tail in the paint, trying to keep the tail out of the paint, hitting the camera. So I just shut it off for a minute. And I just put some dark green down there. And now I'm putting this lighter green, sort of a yellowy green at the top. I'm not following all those little lines exactly, because that would be like too cray-cray. I might go around some of them. Just put some of this in these white spaces. Okay, that's what I have so far. Now I'm going to go even darker. Darker, darker, darker. I put a little bit of that lichen color on the branch. Now I'm going to try and outline some of these with a darker color. Just for funsies. I have no idea how I'm going to paint. Oh, you know what? I think these are buds here. That's a bud. These are flowers. These are leaves. I have no idea how I'm going to paint the rest of the page yet. Concentrating on this little nest right now. If you blot with a paper towel, it kind of puts a little texture on there, soaks up some of the water if you got too much water, like right there. Kind of mushes it down into the green. Trying to make it look very, very variegated. Very variegated. And while I'm playing with this brown, I might just put a little brown on the branch just to remind myself this was the brown I was using on the branch in case I don't get to it. Add a little water and dot. Add a little water and make a dot with your towel. Always make it darker. With watercolors, you start light and go darker. Okay. That's just so the nest blends into the branch. It's a little too dark, so we'll just kind of blot it out there. It don't have to be exact, as long as it looks variegated. So that she's camouflaged. If you were standing right next to this nest, it is so small and so camouflaged. that unless somebody knew it was there and pointed it out, you might not even see it. You might not even see it. Then we got the bottom darker. A little bit more yellows towards the top. Maybe I'll even put yellow there. Kitty's getting into trouble over there. She just stuck her head through the handle of the Vera Bradley bag that I have my shabby chic stuff in for that shabby chic journal that I didn't make yet. Do I need to finish one journal at least before I make that one? Maybe. Maybe. Do I have a darker green? Let's see. Darker green. Darker. We got sap green and viridian green. Sap green and viridian green. Let's see what this looks like. I think this is like a blue green. Yeah. Too much like a phthalo. Let's go to the sap. Go to the sap green, which I didn't spray, so it's dry. This is like an olive green that I used down here and then put a little brown there. I'm just going to color in some of those dots. We don't want the predators to get her. She's got to look camo. She's got to get her camo on here. And a lot of things like to catch these little hummingbirds, although they fly very, very, very fast. Very, very fast. And they're the only birds that can fly up, down, forward, and backwards. Backwards flying bird. They're amazing. They're amazing with their acrobatic feats. But they have been caught by other birds, larger birds. And there's even evidence that the large Chinese praying mantis, which the government in all its wisdom released all over the country to combat garden pests. It's larger than the native praying mantis. And there is photographic evidence of the praying mantis catching and killing and eating hummingbirds. And strange as it may seem, frogs too. When they swoop down to get a drink, sometimes a frog might grab it. And somebody said dragonflies, but I don't know. I think these birds are too big for dragonflies. Putting a little more white on the lichen, liken it up a little bit. Because they got that fungi look to them. The fungi look. Now the white, when you use watercolors, the white is opaque. So that's something you can go over a darker color with. Okay, now I have to decide what to do with the background. I want this part to pop out, so maybe I should just do this very lightly. Because if I use the same greens as this, it's just going to all kind of blend together. So I'm going to go ahead and try to make a light background. First thing I'm going to do is paint these flowers. Find all the flowers and paint them, or else I'll just pretend they're leaves and everything will wind up being green. Okay, that's just the very first light layer of the pink. I'm going to go back and darken up some of those petals after. But I just wanted to mark where they were so they don't wind up green. And now I'm going to go to a bigger brush. And I don't know what color this is. I know it's light green. I am just going to put some light green. I'm doing a very watery washes right now. Testing this paper out because I didn't use a lot of water on this part. So I'm just testing it to see how it behaves with a wetter wash. And what you don't do is stay in one part and finish it. Some people have a tendency, well, I'm going to paint this leaf and then I'm going to paint that leaf. And no, you don't do that. Kind of go all over with the same color. Mark where all the leaves are going to be. Give them all like a little base coat. Because these are all leaves coming from the same plant. And that's what you want it to look like. I'll probably make those little stems a different color. Maybe a little darker so they show up in front of the leaves. Getting very wet there. That's okay. Paper's buckling just a little bit. But most watercolor paper will do that unless you've got it taped down, and I'm not going to tape this down. I'm looking for a green that won't distract from the hummingbirds. Hummingbird, I should say, one bird. There's some stems there. I don't know what that is. Looks like there's a leaf under there. I could put a little green there just to mark where the stem is. It looks like there's a leaf there. Okay, I'm going to do that all over. Okay, this is just a pop-in for progress. And I did a ultramarine blue background. I never use ultramarine blue for the sky. But I thought this was more like a background like on a fabric or something. And I just wanted the sky dark. And what I like about ultramarine is it is granulizing. Can you see the texture there? When it dries, it just leaves this awesome texture. And sometimes I like to use it just as a background color. And now I'm putting another layer on the leaves, making them a little darker, especially the ones that are underneath. Need to be darker. The lighter ones up front and the darker ones in the back. like they're in the shadow. And I'm mixing sort of like an olive green with a little bit more of yellow, because I'm trying not to get it too dark. So the yellow green will pop out on top of the ultramarine. The yellow green will pop out on top of the ultramarine blue. Mamma mia. Okay, now this little leaf down here, see, that's in the back, so I'm going to make that dark. And then this leaf is under that leaf, so there's like a little shadow there. And then this leaf is under that leaf, so there's like a little shadow there. And there's going to be a little shadow over here. And maybe just a little bit there. A little bit down there. These are stems down here, so I'm not going to worry about those. Okay, now I mixed it with a little yellow green again. So this one can be lighter out in the front. And this paper is very soft. I'm using a lot of water now, and I went to flip it because I keep flipping it so I can rest my hand on the table and not on the picture. And it did rip a little bit right there, which is okay because I'm going to glue it down. But this is a review, so if you get this book, I'll show the book again at the end. Just know that this paper is very soft, which I noticed right away how soft it was, almost like cotton. But I'm pretty sure that area wasn't ripped when I started out. Picking up some of the extra water, leaving a little bit of texture there. So you don't want everything the same color. Boring. You want to kind of mix it up. Leave some light spaces and some dark spaces. Now this one is behind, so I'm going to darken this one up. See, it's got a little more dimension now, and you put some light and some dark. Okay, I just want to show you the difference down here by adding some more layers of color and making some of the spaces darker. How much more dimension these have than the ones up here that look just kind of flat. So again, all I'm doing is adding just a little bit darker color, still mixing in some yellow, and where one leaf goes over another leaf, you just make that a little darker. You can put some extra green on the veins if you want. Now these are way behind these little ones here, so these are going to be dark. Push those way back. And even this one is behind this larger one. Now, it doesn't have to be solid. Let me get tissue here. Leave it a little variegated. But you can leave lighter spots. See, and now I want it to be even darker here. And here. Like that. Could be a little darker next to the nest too. Oh, and I said this paper is very soft, and I went over the line, and sometimes with some watercolor paper, you can take a wet brush and kind of scrub away the color and then repaint it again. And this paper is too soft, you can't do that. You cannot do that with this paper. But overall, it's so far it's not too bad. I mean, I'm not having a terrible time watercoloring, and I'm using lots of water on the leaves. So it needs to be a little bit darker there. Just stem back there. See, that spot is already wet, so I'm just like, you know, it's not like painting a side of a barn. You just kind of drop the color in there and just let the water spread it around if you're working in a wet area. The water will move it. There's sometimes you can put color in one area and then just take your brush and move it to another area. Okay, these leaves up here, I want them to be lighter, so I'm adding a little bit more yellow to the green. I don't know what that is. Go away. Okay. Okie dokie. Okay, I'm just going to finish up these couple of leaves here and then come back and do the flowers. Okay, I got some clean water. It was looking kind of gray from all the green and blue. And I think I'll just finish the flowers and then do the actual journal page tomorrow, because I just spent too much time outside today. It was just a gorgeous day, and we bought flowers. And I did some gardening. And this is all I have energy to do today. But I didn't get all my flowers planted, so I have to do some more tomorrow. So I'm just going to go around, sort of make the petals on the sides a little darker, and the petals that are in the back a little darker. Get a lot of water on that. I might have to come back to those after. They don't have so much water on them. See, the one underneath's got to get dark. The one on the side's got to get dark. This could be a little darker over there because it's underneath the leaf. Something like that. See how plain it is? So we gotta spice it up a little bit. And this one's kind of closed. Sometimes the buds are a little darker when they're closed. Plus it's under the branch and under all the leaves. So this whole thing can be a bit darker. Don't get carried away there. I might have to come back and touch that one up a little bit more. Yeah, so I'll just finish painting this and then I'm going to let it dry really well. And then I'll come back tomorrow and do the journaling page. I saw my first dragonfly in the yard today. Was it the first one? No, it's actually the second one. I saw one on the other side of the yard earlier. It was a different one though. I saw a pickerel frog in the yard yesterday. I heard the gray tree frog singing again. There's a couple of them. You can hear them in the different trees. And when we went to Walmart to get some plants, there was a clear wing hummingbird moth having a good old time on the plants at Walmart. Boy, plants are so expensive this year. Mamma mia. Spent way too much money and I didn't even get all the plants I wanted. And usually you can get a good deal at the Walmart. But it was not such a good deal. Not such a good deal. Oops. Oops, there's always oopses. Don't worry about it. This is like an opera pink. An opera pink. Which supposedly is not very light fast, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be in a journal. It's not going to be on the wall where the sun can shine on it. I'm not going to worry about that. Well, I might have to give this a little bit of a dry and add just a little bit more. I didn't want to go too dark with these, but I think it'll be okay. Okay, I'm going to let this dry. I just finished up the flowers. I'll take some pictures and put it at the end, so you can get a better close-up. And then I will come back tomorrow and finish my journaling page. So again, this is the Rainforest Escape, My Island Animal, Exotic Flower, and Tropical Plant Coloring Book. Who's the publisher? Page Street Publishing Company. Page Street Publishing Company. And again, the paper is kind of nice, very soft. There's another hummingbird. It's very soft, but I think it took the color very well. Kind of pleased with the way it came out. So thanks for coming along today, and stay tuned for tomorrow for part 2 when I actually do the journal page. So everybody, happy junk journaling, or happy enjoying your coloring book or watercoloring book. Bye-bye.